Okay, I just want to get out you to get your homework out real quick from yesterday, and just wanted to point out on those last few examples within that you don't have to work that all out. And I addressed that in class yesterday, but in case you didn't listen or didn't pay attention, that on those last couple, you just have to plug in. So like on 32, where it says 2k squared plus 5k minus 2. The idea is you can just set those up and you can use those formulas that I gave you yesterday. So k squared, you would use that n squared formula, which is n times n plus 1, but there's a 2 in front. So it's 2 times n plus 1 times 2n plus 1 all over 6. And then plus 5k, which would be the n power. So that's n times n plus 1 all over 2. And then minus 2 times n, because just like we said yesterday, if there was a 10 up there, it would be 2 times 10. And in the past, I've made people work this out and get a common denominator, but I'm really not that concerned about this. So like the one thing I would say to do is you could simplify that and make that to 3. And then it's up to you if you want to FOIL any of that out, like n squared plus n times 2n plus 1 all over 3 plus 5n times n plus 1 all over 2 minus 2n. And I'm okay if you leave it like that. If I gave you a number to plug in there, then you could actually give me the sum. And that's all I was wanting on those last ones. Okay? So I printed out your review, so hopefully the sub already gave you that, and if not, pause the video real quick and get that passed out. And I just want to go over this very quickly so that you can get your time in class to work on this. And so I just want to go over the basic things you need to know. Remember that you can make a formula sheet out, and there's rules about that at the end of this. But everything that there's a formula for, I'm going to kind of check mark as I go through. Remember that permutations and combinations, you got to just know when order matters and when order doesn't matter, and there's a formula for that. There's also a button on your calculator, but I'm going to put a check mark by everything that has a formula that I feel like you can write on your sheet. I think there's a formula for the fundamental counting principle, but it's just where you multiply things together. I think that's a waste of paper to write that down. But there is a formula for permutations with repetition. That's if I asked you, like, how many ways can you rearrange the letters in Mississippi? You have to look at how many times they repeat themselves. 9.2, we talked about the binomial theorem. Probably you're going to use the Pascal's triangle on that. You are not allowed to write Pascal's triangle on your reference sheet, but you are going to be expected to expand using that. So if I said, find like x plus 3y to the 4th power, I expect that you're going to use Pascal's triangle. But I do want you to know how to find a specific coefficient, and that is the formula. Like, I think it's n, choose r, x to the n minus r, y to the r. That is the binomial theorem of how to find a specific coefficient. I would definitely write that down on my paper, but expanding those hopefully won't be that bad to do. And then 9.3, we talked about probability. There's a whole lot of probability we can do. You're definitely going to see questions about rolling 2 dice. If I roll 2 dice, what's the chance that my sum's going to be greater than 7? Or what's my chance that I'm going to roll an odd number? Questions like that about dice. So make sure you think about how many options there are. And then the other big thing is I want you to know the difference between when you add and when you multiply. Basic probability. Make sure that you write down, make sure you know that when you see the word or, it means add. When you see the word and, it means multiply. And I believe there's a formula for probability. And even independent and dependent, you could write those down. Like, I feel like there's formulas for that too that we have in our notes from 9.3. And then starting in 9.4 is where there's a lot of formulas. Sequences, you need to know whether they converge or diverge and how to find that. Remember, there's a big relationship between asymptotes and converging sequences. But all of the rest of this stuff, there are formulas. Arithmetic and geometric, I printed those off for you. And you can write all those formulas down, right? Where D is the common difference, recursively defined, explicitly defined. Write those on your formula sheet. Common ratio for geometric. Same thing for 9-5. Summation notation, I expect that you know how to write those in summation notation, or if I give you summation, you can find the sums. But there's a whole lot of formulas. Sum of a finite arithmetic sequence, sum of a finite geometric sequence, sum of an infinite geometric series determining whether it converges or diverges. All of those are formulas. Math induction, there's nothing you need to write on your formula sheet about math induction, but you do want to write all those formulas that I gave you yesterday, the sums of powers of integers, so that you could do some problems like that. So the problem with this chapter is there's just so many different things, which is why your review is so long, which is why I'm talking as quickly as I can. On your formula sheet, you can have one sheet of paper. I don't care if you write front and back, but it has to be handwritten. It cannot be photocopied. Formulas only, nothing else but the formula and what it stands for. And what I mean by that is you can name it. You can say it's the sum of a finite arithmetic sequence. You can say what each letter represents, but no examples, no explanations, no Pascal's triangle. If you aren't sure if it can be on there or not, I say don't put it on there or wait and ask me. I will be back this afternoon, so you can come and ask me questions about your formula sheet if you have them. This review is on your assignment sheet. If you don't have your assignment sheet, then you can pause the video when I'm done talking here and get this written down. There's a lot of problems here. All of your homework, including this review, is due tomorrow before the test. I have my review done already, so I'm going to leave my review for the sub so that if you have a question that you can look at it. The sub knows the sub is not going to let you just take my review back and copy it all down. But especially an even problem, if you don't know if you did it right or not, then you can ask and you can come and look at my review, or the sub can look at it more is what I would like to see happen. And then get that answered. Okay? Get to work.